Here is the World News at 5. First, the top stories. Amosu faults presidency over Ogun State allocation from VAT revenue. Buhari asked for global strategy to keep ISIS fighters from Lake Chad Basin. Okeze says Ndigo will be adversely affected if there is another war. EFCC recovers 209 billion naira and 69.5 million US dollars loot between January and July 2017. On the foreign scene, powerful earthquake kills more than 200 topple buildings in Mexico. And Central Africa president pleads to UN not to forget his country. Good evening, I am Kunle. Alaye bringing you the news in detail shortly. Kunle Amusu of Ogun State has faulted the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), Federal Finance Ministry, and National Bureau of Statistics of wrong computation of data of value-added tax (VAT). The governor contends that Ogun State is second highest contributor to the VAT, second to Lagos State, and not 26 claimed by Finance Ministry (FIRS) and NBS. Amusu disputed computation that Kano, Oyo, Osun, and several other states contributed more than Ogun State into VAT revenue. The governor explains that Ogun, which has emerged as hosting the highest number of industries in Nigeria, will in the nearest future overtake Lagos in other areas, considering the influx of new investors into the state. Calling for an urgent correction of VAT revenue data, the governor says the growing concentration of factories in Ogun is increasing the pressure on infrastructure in the state. A new Vice-Chancellor has been appointed for the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, FUNA. He is Professor Felix Salako. The new Vice-Chancellor is a Professor of Soil Physics in the Department of Soil Sciences and Land Management in the College of Plant Science and Production of FUNA. He was born in 1961 in Lagos and hails from Ibadan, the Oyo State. The university's Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Abokizawa, in a statement says the appointment was guided by the law establishing the institution. Other new appointments in the university announced by the Pro-Chancellor were those of Dr. Akim Adekola as the new registrar and Mr. Chukwuwike as the new bursar. The immediate past acting Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, FUNA, Professor Ololade Enikome, has said that agriculture will continue to be the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. The former acting Vice-Chancellor makes this observation at the just concluded 5th National Conference and Exhibition and Annual General Meeting of Nigerian Women in Agriculture, Research and Development. Says for the agriculture to be properly harnessed, the pivotal role of women should be appreciated. Professor Enikwome, who was represented by Director of FUNA's Center for Excellence in Agricultural Development and Sustainable Environment, Professor Okolamo Onobeson, asked all stakeholders to work together to ensure that Nigeria engage in full agriculture. Also, the Director of Africa Women in Agricultural Research and Development, Dr. Wajiru Kamau Tubeg, asked African leaders to increase investment, research and development in agriculture, and engaging more women to sustain the growing agricultural gross domestic product of Africa. Executive Director of Small and Medium Scale Enterprise of Bank of Industry, Mr. Waid Olagiju, regrets that most of the equipment being used in Nigeria's agriculture sector are imported. Also speaking at the events, the Dean College of Food Science and Human Ecology of FUNA, Professor Latif Soni, explains that the focus on the college is the promotion of food quality, good quality of life and ensure sustainable development. The high point of the conference was the presentation of awards of excellence to the immediate FUNA Vice-Chancellor, Professor Olushola Oyewole, founder of Onward Professor Stella Williams, former Dean, FUNA College of Animal Science and Livestock Production, Professor Daisy Evubeten, and the distinguished Don, Professor Delano Adilekon. The 4th Emmanuel Oladimeji Shoremi Interactive Forum will hold in Abeokuta, the state capital, on Thursday, September 21st. The Interactive Forum, whose theme is the menace of rape in the Nigerian society, the law, the courts and justice, will hold at the Secretariat of the Nigerian Bar Association, behind DLK Roofing Company of Abiola Way, Abeokuta, at 10 a.m. The event's chairman is former Steel and Mines Minister Haji Tunji Sharafa Ishola, while the speakers are Justice S. Akimbi of the High Court of Ogun State, Mr. Sunday Oladipupo, the Chief Superintendent of Police, and Dr. Omokainde Fakuridi, a psychiatrist. The Board of Directors of Emmanuel Oladimeji Shoremi Foundation 1981, in a statement by Bolanle Shoremi Uyibola, says the idea behind the annual forum is building a better society with right information to wipe out ignorance. The annual forum, the Foundation fully explains, aims at assisting in equipping legal practitioners, especially the younger generation, to be more knowledgeable, experienced, and skilled in diverse areas of practice and life in general. President Muhammadu Buhari has asked the international communities to assist in developing strategies to stop the fleeing fighters of Islamic State from infiltrating the Sahel Africa and Lake Chad Basin. Buhari made the call while addressing the 72nd session of the UN General Assembly in New York. Apart from developing the strategy, Buhari calls for the collective mobilization of the required response to the ISIS threat in a region where there are insufficient resources and responsive capacity is weak. This, according to the President, requires strong cooperation by the UN with the African Union in the conflict prevention and management. He thanks the UN for assisting in the containing threat posed by Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda in the Lake Chad Basin. Troops have been killed 18 fighters of Boko Haram Sept in a battle in Sambisa Forest in Borno State. Several others escaped with gunshot wounds during their attack on the formations of 114 Task Force Battalion in Puka and Bita on the fringe of Sambisa Forest. The terrorists who launched the attack on the battalion from Dambua, Puka, and Tukumburi axes were repelled by troops of 26 and 28 Task Force brigades. Army spokesman Brigadier General Usman Sani in a statement says troops captured several weapons and ammunition from the fleeing terrorists, including 11 AK-47 rifles, 3 general-purpose machine guns, and 1 Bahrain machine gun. Other captured items are 2 Toyota Hilux vans, 1 60mm mortar tube, 7 boxes of ammunition, and a belt of 12.7mm ammunition. Governor Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State has warned that over 11 million Undigo residing outside the southeast region will suffer in case of a fresh breakout of civil war in Nigeria. Undigo, according to the governor, live everywhere in Nigeria, including the Sambisa Forest in Borno State. The governor, speaking to the State House correspondent after a meeting with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the presidential villa in Abuja, says the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, was hijacked by some people it did not name. Okezie explains that the agenda of those who hijacked IPOB was to set Nigeria on fire. Southeast state governors, according to Ikpeazu, have been trying to stabilize the fragile peace in the region, and then thus they are banking on their northern state counterparts to protect Undigo in the north from any form of attack. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) says it recovered 409.27 billion naira and $69.5 million from corrupt individuals between last January and last August. EFCC Chairman Ibrahim Mago made this known at the 20th anniversary celebration of the Financial Correspondents of Nigeria in Abuja. Mago says the anti-graft agency also recovered €610,816, 23,118 pounds sterling, and 70,500 Saudi riyal. 137 convictions, according to him, were also recorded during the period. You are still listening to the World News at 5 from Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we bring you foreign, business, and the sport news. Please do stay with us. A strong earthquake has struck central Mexico, killing more than 200 people, toppling dozens of buildings in the capital, Mexico City. President Enrique Pena Nieto said more than 200 children had died and 30 were missing after a school collapsed. The 7.1 magnitude quake also caused major damage in neighboring states. The tremor struck shortly after many people had taken part in an earthquake drill exactly 32 years after a quake killed thousands in Mexico City. The country is prone to earthquakes, and earlier this month, an 8.1 magnitude tremor in the south left at least 90 dead. President of the Central African Republic, Faustin Archange Touadera, has pleaded with the world to not forget his country. Addressing a news conference ahead of a high-level meeting at the UN General Assembly, he urged the UN to bolster its peacekeeping force amid growing violence that threatens to spin the country out of control. Central Africa, according to him, is at a critical moment in its history and needs the support of friends, or it will be forgotten. Thousands have died and a fifth of Central Africans have fled a conflict that broke out after mainly Muslim Seleka rebels ousted President Francois Bozize in 2013, provoking a backlash from Christian anti-Balaka, anti-Meshed militias. Although unrest has since subsided, fighting has spiked this year, and the United Nations warned this month that ethnic fighting could descend again into a much larger conflict of combatants and not disarmed. Up next in the news is business news. Ogun State government has indicated interest in purchasing armored vehicles for a local manufacturing plant to further improve security in the state. The state government already operates close to 20 imported armored personnel carriers handed over to the Nigerian police force. Governor Kunle during an inspection visit to the armored vehicle manufacturing plant based in Odiremo in Ogun State, says 3 units of APC will be purchased from the plant. Also, the state government, according to the governor, will place an order for 3 gunboats for the patrol of the extensive waterways in the state. The governor explains that each of the 3 APC will be deployed to the 3 senatorial districts of Ogun State. Finally, in the news is sport news. Former Heartland coach Ndubuisi Nduka has described as regrettable Shooting Star Sports Club's 3FC demotion at the end of the 2016-2017 Nigerian Professional Football League (NPFL). The Oluyole Warriors were ousted from the Nigerian top flight after the side finished the season's campaign in 17th position in the 20-team Elite League on 50 points from 38 matches. Nduka said the team, with rich tradition and a frightening fan base like 3FC, should not be experiencing an untoward fluctuation in fortune at the end of every other season. The Ibadan Landlords were relegated to the nation's second-tier league, Nigerian National League (NNL), together with newcomers Remo Stars, Abubakar Bukola Saraki ABS FC, and Gombe United at the end of the 2016-2017 NPFL season. That was the world news at 5, but just before we go, a quick recap of the major stories once again. In the world news at 5, Amosu filed presidency over Ogun State allocation from VAT revenue. Buhari asks for global strategy to keep ISIS fighters from Lake Chad Basin. Okeze says Undibo will be adversely affected if there is another war. EFCC recovers 209 billion naira and $69.5 million loot between January and July 2017. Powerful earthquake kills more than 200 toppled buildings in Mexico. Central Africa president pleads to UN not to forget his country. For more stories and to listen to us live, you can please log on to our website. It is www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you very much for listening. I am Kunle. Alaye. To have a blissful Wednesday.